Games into the season, I know that there were some things that you wanted to be about offensively. But I'm just wondering, 8 games in now, the body of work that you guys have put together, are there some certainties that you feel are in place about this offense that you can comfortably say this is something that we can handle?
No.
And how does that kind of shape some of the decisions that you make in a game-to-game situation? We talked about last week,
Right.
passing it down there on the goal line, this week running it.
Yeah, to be honest, to answer your question, still trying to find our identity, right? Want to run the football, want to be physical up front and, win the line of scrimmage. That didn't happen last night. We got knocked back in critical moments. Not all the time, but in critical moments, especially when we're down there in the goal line. And then just really execution, just overall from the team, from the coaching staff, everybody.
Not only the run blocking you mentioned the offensive line, what about the pre-snap penalties too? What's your level of concern there?
Yeah, first play, you could have caught it on 3 guys moving, right? So, obviously with the cadence, that's got to be cleaned up. And, a couple of more on some younger players, right? Just got to sit there and hold your hat. Those guys we're asking them to do a lot right now. Had a big challenge in front of Chris Jones. Not an excuse. Sitting there until the ball snap.
Maybe after watching the film, was there anything that stood out to you that maybe you didn't see from field level?
From the team? No, I thought we were really competitive. I love the effort. I thought the physicality on the defense, special teams, really stood out. I thought early on our offense, again, came out, opening drive, scripted, went down there, was moving. As that went on, I thought there was opportunities there for us to make plays, and we're not executing, right, at a high enough level. And when there are opportunities there, we're not making them, and that's really the bottom line.
When you see the offense succeeding when it's scripted and kind of struggling a little bit when you get the farther you get past the script, how do you address that?
Well, I think you just got to always go back to, the plays that's working. And there's nothing wrong with repeating plays. You see that from other teams. And, again, I'm not saying we don't do that. It comes down to execution, right? And there's a lot of things that go into it, from protection to route running to getting the ball off on time. All that stuff goes into play. We need all 11 on the same page.
Did the Chiefs do anything in particular to take Bowers and Jacoby out of the game when they were having early success and really didn't go back to him until late?
Yeah, second half, a lot more pressure. A lot more pressure in the second half. He just dialed it up and just kept bringing it consistently, left, right, up the middle. And that, at that point, quarterback's getting rid of the ball faster.
Your offensive line has had some moving parts. That's probably not a good recipe when you're dealing with that kind of pressure from a communication standpoint. Was that any sort of an issue in terms of picking up those blitz packages and those pressure packages?
Yeah, a few. But again, man, we repped it. We know the Chiefs. I know Spags. We knew what to expect. Again, it's going out there, hearing the call, and then doing what you're asked to do.
Offensively, not being on top of those details is a big issue. I'm sure you guys are bringing it up throughout the week leading up to the game. Why do you think that's not necessarily carrying over on game days?
It's a good question. Obviously, if we had the answer, I probably wouldn't be asked that question. It's just something we got to keep working on and pounding on.
How'd you guys come out of the game injury-wise?
I don't have that update yet. Yeah.
How the fact that you say, Antonio, that you're still trying to find the identity, is that how surprising is that to you 8 games into the season and after what you guys were able to pull off at the end of the season last year? Is that kind of...
Yeah, last year's team, last season is last year. Different mentality, different group of players. Staff's different as well. And I think there is a learning curve. I'm not going to sit there. I don't think any team that's in the National Football League with a new offensive coordinator and quarterback are just sitting here gelling right now. But if you just talk about us, I want to run the ball, man. I want to be physical. I want to be able to throw the ball down the field and have shots. But all that has to be tied into down and distance, play calling, execution, everybody. It's everybody involved. And there's times, and there's good flashes. Again, like look at the first drive now, 4 games in a row, opening possession, we go down there. So it's there for the taking, just, doing it each and every drive, straining to be focused and detailed each and every snap.
How fine is that line then between design and desire?
I think it'd probably be a mixture of both, I don't, I'm not going to get into the thing about questioning the play calling. I think, every play, nobody calls a play for it to fail, right? And there's got to be a level of execution, attention to detail that needs to be served on every play.
Is there a point where you realize or you see that you can't run the ball this year? Like you have to just do something else?
That we can't do what?
Where you can't run the ball?
Oh, no, we got to run the ball. Can't do that. We can't sit there and throw the ball 50 times, 40 times. We haven't been successful doing it. So we'll keep pounding again. On Wednesday, we'll get back out there, early downs, and figure out a way to run the ball, right? We try to have different packages. We put, Mumford in there at tight end a bunch, and try to get him in there, just get bigger on these guys, just whatever it takes to win the line of scrimmage.
Play where he's out wide, yesterday, how's that working?
Design play. Yep, ate up a corner on that one.
I know every game is unto themselves, but go back to the end of the first half. If you go back to the end of the first half against the Rams, you guys were aggressive and 2 turnovers resulted in 14 points, including the fumble that got returned for a touchdown. Was any of that kind of in your mind of that's what you did last week, it didn't work, be a little bit more careful with the ball last night or yesterday?
No, last night really just had to do with time. It was a lot of time on the clock with 2 timeouts for Kansas City. They're one of the best in the game. If we were to do anything, limit them to the least amount of time possible to go down the field.
We always talk about the culture and these guys being there for each other, but when you're on a 4-game losing streak, how difficult is that to keep everybody in the locker room together and not pointing fingers?
No, they were good. I mean, they're good for what you could be good for after a loss, if that makes sense, right? There was no pointing fingers. There was no get back to work. Like I told the guys today, man, like we got to do this for another 9 weeks. And that's what we signed up for. So it's not easy. It's tough. Don't like it. Wish it was easier. Wish we could come here with a smile and give you all the right answers. But we're still searching for the answers, and that's our job.
While we're trying to get the offense rolling with that offense, obviously you had a couple of really big games where your young players, your rookies really played well. What's the message you give them to kind of get them back on track and limit penalties and things of that sort?
Yeah, I mean, we're playing with a lot of young guys. I mean, you look out there, there's a lot of young guys. But I think that's the whole part that makes coaching fun, just seeing the development of those players. Again, I think you're talking about Jackson Powers. I mean, he played left guard, and we had an injury, and he went right in there at center and didn't blink. So, I mean, the things that some of these younger players doing, Brock, the season that he's having, D-Cam now started to come along. We got some young guys, hopefully on the back end of the season can really help us even more.
See you guys.
All right, thank you guys.